Hey guys, what's going on? I want to make a really important announcement. Thank you first for clicking on this video. I want to make an announcement, and then I'll go into the whole title of this video, which will probably be 23.1 is coming, or something like that. So, every single time I ever post a video, and this just happened, so it's very fresh in my mind. Every single time I ever post a video about some specific thing, because it always has to be a specific thing, so in this case I'm going to talk about a little bit about 23.1, the information that we do have. Every single time I post a video about something, inevitably, in my comment section, I get somebody asking me, like, do a deck review, or you should add, this kind of tier list, or, they ask me some question that has nothing to do with the actual video that I just posted. And so, in order for it to stop bothering me, because it kind of bothers me in the idea that, like, I just created this video, I gave you this information, you're not talking about the thing that I just created, you're just asking me a completely random, what do you think is better, Boreas or Hex? Somebody will ask me some just completely separate, nonsensical question, or not nonsensical question, but like a question that has nothing to do with the actual video that I just posted. And I don't want this to bother me anymore. So here's my new thing. In the comment section of videos, I'm actually going to encourage this now. If you have any questions for me, leave them in the comments of videos. And whether it be a new video or a past video, you can leave it in the comments of that video. And at the end of the week, I will do like an entire thing where I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to like face cam or something. I might. You know what? I might just do that. I don't know why I've been like gatekeeping my identity or anything. I don't have a specific reason for why I've been doing that. But I'll probably do like just a video. It'll be like a hangout thing. And I'll take all those questions from the week, I will log them into like a separate thing, and I will answer all of those questions in a video at the end of the week on like a Sunday. Sunday seems good, because even if I have work, I only have work in the morning, and then I could do it in the afternoon. Sunday seems good. So from right now until... Is that a reasonable time? Yeah, it's like Thursday today. From right now until Sunday, if you have any questions... just leave them in the comments of any video, and I will gather those questions, and I will answer them on Sunday. And then, yeah, I think I'm going to do it like that. So, this goes from now until my channel gets deleted or I change this rule. Just whenever you leave a comment that has nothing to do with the video that I currently am posting. Like, if it's about the video that I'm posting, if it's about that video, if it's on the same subject, I will answer that in the comments and it'll just be easy. But if it's anything else, if you just have some random question, I will answer that on Sunday. Because I don't want to not answer it, but at the same time, I also don't want it to bother me that it's not even about the video that I just, like, spent time creating and posting. So yeah. I'll say this at the end of all my videos from now on, but yeah, that's going to be my new thing. Sunday Q&As. But anyway, 23.1, I don't have a lot to talk about because we don't have a lot of information, but they did start the ball rolling, and I'm assuming they started the ball rolling because it's in a week. Next week, we're updating to version 23.1. Whenever there's a 0.1 as opposed to a new number, so the current update that we are in is 23.0. Because this is not 24.0 and this is 23.1, these are mostly just update patches. It'll essentially kind of feel like that, more so than an official 24.0 new talents, new units, new event, that's usually what they do their main updates for. And the 0.1s are, oh, by the way, we kind of want to fix this one thing that we had in the last patch. So we're going to save it for that. So don't really expect any of these updates to be giant, big, splashy, YouTube type video updates. Because that's essentially what they're going to be. So the first update that we got was on A-Friend's channel when he posted some spoilers for 23.1. No direct balance changes to units, Genie, Riding Hood, and so on. And then changes for monsters and bosses are planned, which should significantly affect PvP battles that last more than 15 waves. Yes, the Corsair Banshee with 50 plus waves could die. These changes do not link with planned ladder system changes and related to the fact that you shouldn't play for 50 to 100 waves in one battle. So the thing that I feel about this, and this obviously could change depending on what those balance changes are for monsters and bosses. So one of the changes from a prior patch was obviously Armored League, right? Or Armored Monsters. So at a certain point very early, I think it's after double bosses or second boss, third boss, maybe when it was going into double bosses, the regular monsters became armored. And so you found as a, if you didn't have like a max legendary, 3000 crit or whatever, if you were running like a Crystalmancer deck and you had 2000 crit, you would notice that even just the regular monsters that were not Banner Lords felt like Banner Lords. And then all of a sudden everything became harder. And that was to alleviate the problem of, they're just people getting to insane rounds. And so it basically separated the men from the boys. That's basically what that felt like. It sounds like they're going to do that again, but understand this. Even if they change something in the game to make it more difficult in later stages to not be able to, so that normal people can't get to higher stages, yes, it will make it shorter, but those decks will still go to insane lengths. Like, you will still, even if, for example, even if they changed, the monster's health from the first round they started 1,000,000 damage, that's still gonna make, Riding Hood decks and Demon Hunter decks and Corsair decks go into the billions of damage on round 5, for example. They will just be the only ones that can do it. So yes, it will shorten the rounds. You'll get less rounds. So for instance, when that Corsair deck, that Quadrillion Corsair deck got to round 50, yes, that is not round 200, which is what it used to get, but now it's just round 50. And so even if they change that goalpost to round 25, it's still going to be impossible for you as a regular player to get to round 25, but they're still going to get to round 25. And so even though it's not round 200, it's now round 50. And even if it's not round 50, it's now round 25. It's still the same. Yes, the game is shorter. But the amount of damage that you're going to have to do to get to that round is still going to be comparatively the same. It's a good change. I'm just saying that it's not like they're trying to kill the deck. They're just trying to make the game shorter. If they do end up trying to kill the deck, that would just be a patch note, functionality change. Banshee doesn't, the percentage on which Banshee insta-kills things is less. Or maybe it stuns bosses, but for a lesser amount of time. Maybe it's a timed thing, so that you can only get one boss out of that activation, as opposed to maybe 2 bosses or something. But unless they change, in saying they might kill that deck, it would have to be like an actual functional change as opposed to the monsters are more difficult kind of change. But that's just my idea for it. And then 23.1, the actual post that Rush Royale did is the changes for Random League. Random League was one of the best additions to this game, specifically because of the rewards. And I just I went to my old video to go look at it again, and because I couldn't remember how many crystal gems you had to save for the ultimate rewards, which was all the rewards, and it's 500. So from now until I think it's February 8th, save 500 gems. Just save 500 gems. You will not regret it. Save 500 gems, and when this comes back, assuming that they have the same rewards and the same reward structure, save 500 gems and you will get all the rewards. You will be able to buy a bonus chest immediately after reaching 10 victories without waiting for the battle stage to end. That's great because originally you had to specifically use up all 10 of your battles and basically lose. And now you'll be able to buy the bonus everything as soon as you reach 10 victories. So what people were doing before, which was discouraging people trying to get into the tops of the Random League, they were just getting to 10 victories and then just surrendering like the rest of their battles because you couldn't get the rewards unless you lost 10 times. And that was supposed to encourage you to just keep playing, but most people didn't care about the rewards. And so they just surrendered 10 battles or surrendered 7 battles, 5 battles, and gave people free wins. And I guess they don't want that. So now if you win 10 battles and you don't lose, you can just get the bonus chest, which seems to be like the easiest way to do that. Then you don't feel like you need to surrender battles to give people free wins. And then if you want to progress even further, you still can. To make configuring your decks at the beginning of an event easier and more convenient, you'll be able to use ready-made decks or copy decks created by other players. I don't necessarily care about this change. I feel like you as a deck builder should be able to build your own decks, because if you aren't able to build your own decks, you don't know how it works. And I feel like that's a more important fact than what's called net decking, and just copying somebody else's pre-made deck, and then trying to use it and then trying to win with something you don't even know why you even built it the way that you built it. This game is all about deck creation, and a lot of people ask, oh, what's the best deck? What deck should I build with these cards? And that's part of playing this game. It's figuring out why you should play some cards and why you should not play other cards. It's taking something and not just using that thing because other people use it, but making a conscious choice to use those cards because you understand why this card is better than this other card. Why somebody would use Trapper instead of Chemist, or Chemist instead of Trapper, because they're not just interchangeably the same. They have different roles. And one of those things is obviously, if you run Trapper, you have to run multiple Trappers. You can't just run the one Trapper, because you're trying to get 2 nets on the field at the same time, and one Trapper throwing it at an inconsistent rate, it might throw it one in the front, one in the back, and then you'll only get the benefit of one net, which is not the maximum benefit of 2 nets, which would make it better than a Chemist. And it slows, right? So you would think that it's better, but now you have to dedicate more spots on your field to Trappers. So if you're trying to run Blade Dancer Scrapper, with Night Statue, and you need 7 Blade Dancers, and you need 2 Night Statues, and you need a 1, 2, 3 Scrapper, how much room do you have for 2 Trappers? You don't have a lot of room. At which point, Chemist is a much easier solution for that specific deck because it only takes up the 1 space, and you can get the maximum benefit. Yes, you'd have to get it to a level 7 in order for it to be a double net Trapper, and you don't get the slow, but you still get the effect of reducing their defense, and you will still push damage, and you only needed 1 space to do it. These are the kinds of decisions that you have to decide on how to build a deck. And even though Trapper is technically better, in a Blade Dancer Floral Frenzy deck, Chemist is better. And these are the kinds of decisions that you have to make. And so I don't really like the idea of just, like copying somebody else's deck and just playing that deck. Because if you don't know why they made those decisions and why they picked those cards specifically, it could just be bad. And Rush Royale, in and of itself, every so often, when they're like, I remember when they first announced Random League, and they were like, you can build any deck, and these are some examples. Some of those examples were terrible. Some of those examples were just awful. And I feel like that could be what their suggestions are. They could just be terrible suggestions. Like running a monk deck with priestess instead of like an enchant sword. If it was like monk, Harlequin, mime, summoner, priestess, right? Like, yes, that's kind of a monk deck, but it's not the best monk. It's not the best version of a monk deck. And they could give you that suggestion, and then you could just use it and be like, oh, this is the best. But like, if you don't know how to play monk, you just copying that deck and then playing it isn't going to help you. And if you do know how to play monk, that's a bad deck. So like, I feel like you should definitely not rely on this and try to build your own deck and figure out what works and what doesn't. The system of defeats will be replaced with attempts that are spent upon losing a match. Every player starts with 3 attempts and gets +1 extra attempt each following day for a total maximum of 6 attempts. So I guess instead of... I can't even remember what this is. I guess it was 10 losses. Was it 10 losses or was it 5 losses? I think it was like a total of like 5 losses. And then you were just done. And now it's, you get 3 and then you get +1 attempt each day. And so it's a maximum over the course of the days of 6. I think this is functionally the same. You just can't play them all in the same day, I guess, if you lose too many times within the first day, and then you only have 1 attempt on the next day, and then I guess it's different. I guess it makes it a little bit more heart pounding, because before, when you thought that you could just lose 5 times or whatever it was, it didn't feel as bad. You just knew that you couldn't lose more time. I don't know. I think it feels like functionally the same. And then what I thought was a response to my the last video that I just posted. The Alchemist is joining the roster of key units. I don't know if the Alchemist deck was that great before. But maybe, I guess they feel like maybe it was. I think there were better decks. I think a Demon Hunter deck, a Riding Hood deck, a Blooming Dash Blade Dancer was fine. I think that because the levels on legendaries are much higher than they are in Royal Trials, because I think you get 2 talents for legendaries, whereas in Royal Trials you only get the first talent. That unlocking that second talent was made this much different than just Royal Trials over. A lot of people thought that because the pick system is basically the same pick system as Royal Trials, people thought you could just build like Alchemist decks and like Lightning Mage decks, but like you could run a Demon Hunter deck, a reasonable Demon Hunter deck, or a Riding Hood deck, and reasonably do a lot of damage. And because you're doing so much more damage, it wasn't like a Lightning Mage deck just worked. In fact, Hunter decks were like the big thing, specifically because you could upgrade, or they had free upgrades on the first talent, but now that's not a thing anymore. So I don't know how much the Hunter Hex deck is going to continue working, but I know that was a big thing in the last Random League. But yeah, I guess Alchemist like joining key units is a step in the right direction. I'm curious to find to see if they're gonna carry that over to Royal Trials because they realize how good Alchemist is at really low, like at a level, giving players access to a level 13 ability, but then restricting their legendary capacity. I think they understand how strong it is, but it feels like they just will never change it in Royal Trials, and they really should, because the only 2 decks that anybody ever runs are Lightning Mage decks and Alchemist decks, and there's no reason to run any other deck. Anyway, it's also going to affect Clan Tournament, but this probably doesn't matter to most of you. Warm-ups will be on the 24th. The 31st is Clan Tournament Stage 1. And then normally February 8th would be the Stage 2. But so that you don't have to do Clan Tournament and this tournament and events and your daily stuff and co-op, they decided to push the Clan Tournament Stage 2 to the next week. And then it's going to be replaced with the Random League, so you can take a break from tournamenting. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I will say this again. If you do want to write me comments, and questions about anything non-related to this and just related to just anything that you want, I will take and gather all of those questions and I will answer them all on Sunday. But until then, I will talk to you guys later.